Picture this, a wholesome TV classic, Little House on the Prairie, didn't fade away because of slipping ratings. Oh no, the real story is far juicier. A tangled mess of egos, power grabs, and a final blow so wild it stayed buried for 40 years. What really went down in Walnut Grove's last days? It wasn't just a curtain call, it was a personal implosion that's only now clawing its way into the light. Let's rewind to the 1930s, where Laura Ingalls Wilder spun her childhood into gold with her Little House series, tales of grit and grace from the late 19th century frontier. Her 1935 gem, Little House on the Prairie, sold over 60 million copies worldwide, snagging 5 Newbery honors and cementing her as a literary legend. She'd dreamed of an adult memoir, but publishers yawned until her daughter, Rose Wilder Lane, nudged her to tweak it for kids. Smart move. Fast forward to 1972, and NBC exec Ed Friendly's teenage daughter is nose-deep in the book. Light bulb moment. This could be TV magic. He snagged the rights from Roger Lee McBride, Rose's pal, and set out to bring Wilder's rugged world to life. But here's where it gets messy. Enter Michael Landon, the Bonanza heartthrob who didn't just want to star, he wanted to rule. Friendly had a vision, a raw, bearded Charles Ingalls, dirt under his nails, scraping by with a barefoot family in a weathered cabin. Landon? He saw a polished, clean-shaven patriarch radiating warmth and family vibes. Their clash wasn't just creative, it was a showdown. Landon, fresh off 14 years as Little Joe Cartwright, demanded control. Producer, head writer, director, you name it. Friendly fought for realism. Landon pushed sentimentality. Guess who had the star power? NBC did the math. Landon's ultimatum won, and Friendly was sidelined. A silent partner left grumbling that Landon's version was more "How affluent is my prairie" than Wilder's grit. Still, the pilot, aired March 30th, 1974, was a knockout, pulling a 26.2 rating. Nearly half of America tuned in. The Ingalls family, Charles, Caroline, Laura, and Mary, settled into Kansas on Osage land, a detail nodding to Native American displacement the show barely touched. Landon directed and starred alongside Karen Grassel as Caroline, and Melissa Gilbert, a 9-year-old firecracker, beat out 500 girls to play Laura. Her realness, adopted by actors, raised with brother Jonathan, Willie Olson on screen, made her half-pint nickname from Landon stick like glue. But hold up, did you know the cast was a ticking time bomb? Karen Grassel's Caroline was the steady heartbeat of the family, a theater-trained actress who almost missed the gig until Landon's last-minute call. Her chemistry with him sizzled on screen, but off-screen, tension brewed. She wanted deeper storylines. He kept her in the background, their creative differences simmering. Then there's Melissa Sue Anderson, the reserved Mary Ingalls, whose cool distance from Gilbert sparked whispers of a sisterly feud. Gilbert, all heart and hustle, envied Anderson's poise. Boys flocked to her, and her stage mom's 3MISSY license plate screamed exclusivity. Anderson shrugged it off in her 2010 memoir, calling it a personality mismatch, not a war. Meanwhile, Allison Arngrim's Nellie Olson, Walnut Grove's pint-sized terror, stole scenes with her golden curls and sharp tongue. Off-screen, she was Gilbert's BFF, a warm soul fans misjudged as her mean girl role. Her on-screen mom, Harriet, played by Catherine McGregor, turned a stock villain into a hilarious chaos agent with an 8-page backstory she wrote herself. Together, they spiced up the prairie with mischief. The show premiered September 11, 1974, and stumbled out of the gate. Critics sneered it was too sappy next to the Waltons, mocking Landon's Hollywood glow. But that pilot momentum carried it, and by season 2, a Monday slot switch rocketed it to number 1. 7 by season 4, NBC's top scripted hit. It wasn't just fluff either. Little House tackled racism, addiction, and abuse head-on. Remember Solomon Henry in season 3, a black boy trading servitude for education, or Albert's morphine spiral in season 9? Heavy stuff for a family show, and it paid off 9 seasons, never dipping below the top 30. Yet behind the glow, cracks widened. Grassel pushed for a raise in 1975. Landon, now king of the set, shot her down, saying Ma wasn't a fan favorite. She felt her scenes shrink, his crude jokes before intimate shoots leaving her rattled. They patched things up before his 1991 death, but the rift lingered. Gilbert and Anderson, no blowouts, just a chilly disconnect. 2 sisters on screen, strangers off it. So here's the kicker. Little House wasn't cancelled because it flopped. It imploded from within. Ratings held strong, but the cast's secret grudges and power plays were a slow poison. But friction on set wasn't limited to McGregor. Allison Arngrim and Melissa Sue Anderson faced their own volatile relationship. Arngrim recalled a shocking moment when Anderson threatened to hit her during a fight scene rehearsal. The tension boiled over so fiercely that producers altered the scene at the last minute. Attempts to mend their relationship off-camera proved equally disastrous. A simple game of backgammon spiraled into Anderson calling Arngrim stupid, reinforcing the icy wall between them. While some believed Anderson's distant nature stemmed from her mother's influence, others viewed her as overly rehearsed and calculated, almost like a beauty pageant contestant controlling every move. By the early 1980s, Little House on the Prairie faced a slow but steady decline. Once a dominant force in primetime television, it fell from its peak to a modest 29th place in ratings by its final season. The emotional core of the show shifted when Laura Ingalls, portrayed by Melissa Gilbert, became the central figure. While Gilbert's portrayal of Laura's coming-of-age journey was heartfelt, the transition to her new role as a wife and mother altered the series' dynamic. Dean Butler's portrayal of Almanzo Wilder struggled to capture viewers' hearts in the same way iconic characters like Charles Ingalls or Mr. Edwards once did. The chemistry between Laura and Almanzo never reached the emotional heights fans had grown accustomed to, and the storytelling felt less impactful as a result. The biggest blow to the series came when Michael Landon departed. As the show's creative backbone, both behind the scenes and on screen, Landon's absence left a void that couldn't be filled. Attempts to introduce new characters like Laura's daughter Rose and the Carter family failed to resonate with audiences. The rebranded Little House, A New Beginning, marked a desperate attempt to reignite interest. But by then, the magic had faded. Even special episodes featuring Landon's brief return only served to remind viewers of what had been lost. The show's finale, The Last Farewell, delivered a gut-wrenching ending that left fans in disbelief. In a stunning twist, the residents of Walnut Grove destroyed their beloved town themselves. Faced with losing their land to a ruthless businessman, they chose to blow up their homes, businesses, and even their cherished church and schoolhouse, rather than surrender them. Laura Ingalls and her husband Almanzo set off the first explosion, and one by one, the townspeople followed suit. As smoke filled the air, they gathered to sing Onward Christian Soldiers, creating one of television's most unforgettable moments. For the cast, this final act carried profound emotion. Melissa Gilbert later admitted it felt like a funeral, watching years of memories, friendships, and milestones reduced to rubble. But this dramatic conclusion wasn't just storytelling. It was Michael Landon's symbolic response to NBC's abrupt cancellation of the series. After over a decade of dedication, Landon was blindsided when he learned about the show's cancellation secondhand. Furious with the network's handling of the situation, Landon wrote the town's destruction into the script, ensuring NBC could never repurpose the sets for another project. This act of defiance was his way of closing the chapter on Little House on his own terms. Even though Little House on the Prairie concluded in 1984, its legacy refused to fade. Decades later, the series continues to resonate with audiences. Syndication turned it into a staple for new generations, and by 2025, it had attracted an audience 13 times larger than the average TV show. Streaming platforms like Peacock reignited interest, with over 13 billion minutes of viewing in 2024 alone. Despite being a product of its time, the series still touches hearts with its timeless themes of family, resilience, and moral strength. Now, a new chapter looms as Netflix prepares to reboot Little House on the Prairie. While some fans eagerly anticipate this revival, others worry the series will stray too far from its original values. The debate is heated. Should the reboot modernize its themes to reflect contemporary social issues, or should it stay faithful to the wholesome spirit of the original? Showrunner Rebecca Sonnenschein insists the new series will honor Laura Ingalls Wilder's vision while adapting to modern audiences. The pressure is immense, but if done right, this new version could breathe fresh life into a story that continues to inspire millions. Whether the reboot succeeds or stumbles, one thing remains certain. Little House on the Prairie has secured its place in television history, and its emotional legacy will endure for generations to come.